Welcome to the last lecture, well, optional lecture of the SE module, the ULM diagrams. Here, I will go straight away and tell you that I will not teach how to make every single diagram. And the reason is quite simple. Let me show you why. Because if we enter the SDA platform, you go to the, oh, 1 second, let me log in as a student so you can see exactly the same thing that we see, the exact same thing that you see. If you enter to the software engineering module, you have not one, but 5 videos for each kind of diagrams that we are gonna, we're usually teaching the software engineering module. Then I already told you, it's probably in the morning, that we are gonna do in the workshop, we are gonna use only the activity diagram, the use case diagram, and the sequence diagram. So for tomorrow's workshop, you can you can skip this video and this video. I would recommend to watch this video for your IP module, because this will help you organize your information a lot. This will complement quite nicely what I said about writing documentation about your classes. This will actually help you visualize the connection or how many classes work, the classes work between each other. So this will help you about with that one. But for now, for tomorrow's, you will need to see this video. This one is 13 minutes. This one is 5 minutes, and this one is 8 minutes. So literally in less than 20 minutes, you will learn how to make this diagram. So that's why I don't want to teach from zero. So instead, I will showcase a couple of examples. We can reason about them while we are doing them. But for the specific of how to do each kind of diagram, you have the videos here. So let's get started. First of all, I really want to stress out that this slide that you're seeing. Oh, by the way, are you seeing the slide when you can see 5 images in a step?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, I want to explain the diagrams and sorted by detail level. So as you can see in this scale, we can see that some diagrams has less detail and some has more detail. And as the bottom part of the page says, the less detail is better for non-technical users, for CEOs, or to just communicate the overall idea of your project. The more detail, like the class diagram, the sequence diagram, they are better for the coder that builds the product itself. So choose your diagram according to your needs. I got questions from different students about what diagram I need for my particular module, and the answer is all of them, but not necessarily. What I'm trying to say is read your business requirements, read your functional requirements, and based on that, prioritize your requirements. Remember that we were teaching about adding a new column just for the priority, especially for the people that saw yesterday's lecture about the optional lecture about Apple numbers, that prioritizing stuff can help you a lot. If you prioritize your requirements, you can see in which ones to focus, because you have around, at least, I really hope that at least everybody has at least 15 functional requirements, literally as a minimum. So you have so many requirements that you will not be able to do 15 diagrams, and not every single functional requirement needs a diagram. So by prioritizing your requirements, you can see which ones actually really deserve your attention to make a diagram, and based on reading your own requirements, you can see which ones deserve what, which kind of diagram will help you visualize the information quite better. In fact, we were just in a conversation with yellow, blue, and purple, and somebody from blue literally described an activity diagram from one of the requirements. So they literally spoke the activity diagram in a natural language. So yeah, for that particular requirement, there is no better diagram than the activity diagram. Now that we're speaking about diagrams, it's time to sort out the confusion. You can see that in the least detail, we have one called activity network diagram, also called project network diagram. And in the middle, we have something called activity diagram. Yeah, welcome to the world of project management, where we are supposed to organize information. this is the kind of people that should always use a specific language and try to avoid having these common, these really similar names. But people are imperfect, so that's why we have activity network diagram and activity diagram as two totally different diagrams. So that's why I put pictures so you can avoid the confusion. One is to see how the project overall goes, and one is to visualize how a couple of pieces of information, in this case requirements, interact between each other. And then you have the use case diagram to showcase how a person interacts with a particular piece of software, or in your case, in the case study, with your particular modules. The sequence is more complex. As I mentioned to somebody in yellow, sequence diagrams are not about how one particular functional requirement works. No, the sequence diagram is more about how business requirements or even modules interact with each other. Because if you remember Dina's example of the ATM machine, you can say that the ATM machine is one module and the bank server is another module. They are two totally different systems, but they're interacting with each other. And if you realize in your case studies, sometimes you need to communicate between different modules. Once each team actually writes your requirements quite well. And when I say requirements, it's a combination between business, functional, and non-functionals. Then together they can start making diagrams like that, because the sequence diagrams they're usually reserved when you need to see the interaction between multiple modules. And the use case diagram, on the other hand, remember, we're talking about the CSS now, and now we're switching to less detail. In the use case, you can the container that you see in the middle of the preview is one single module. So you can see that each diagram has his own use case. So when people tell me what diagram I need for my module, the better question is, based on your your requirements sorted by priority, which diagram has the correct level of detail to convey the information that I need. And as I mentioned, tomorrow we are not gonna do the activity network diagram nor the class diagram, so we can just focus on the ones in the middle, the use case, the activity, and the sequence diagram. So okay, based on that information, we can move to the next slide. Resources. I already showcased in the.
Bedard, sorry, one thing. The three of them, but for the prioritized functional requirements, right?
For your modules, for your case study, remember, prioritize your requirements. Literally, create a column for priority. Read the functional requirement, and then you will see which ones will be easier to use. So for remember, so for example, if you have an interaction between, let's say, this is an example, doesn't mean that this is a correct, a real example in the case study. But if you have an interaction between Blue, where a tech employee requests an equipment, but the tech employee cannot buy an equipment until the project manager approves it, but the project manager doesn't enter the Blue module, but it receives a notification from the project handler module. That integration between two people and two modules will be quite nice to diagram using the sequence diagram, because you are not only seeing processes, but you are seeing people, human beings, interacting with modules. So this connection between modules is perfectly aligned with the sequence diagram. So that's one example where you need to use the sequence diagram. But for example, if you just want to say, I browse a web page, I see an item, and then just I purchase it, that can be totally done with just an activity diagram. So that's why I'm saying, depending on your requirements, choose the correct kind of diagram. Now, another question that are, by the way, did that answer the question? Yes, no?
Yeah, I think the short answer is that perhaps we don't need to do the diagrams for all of it, but the most important ones.
Yeah, exactly. Just sort of by priority and then see which ones. So I don't want to say red module needs to do a sequence diagram, orange needs to do an activity and 2 use case diagrams, green needs to do a sequence diagram and nothing more, and so on and so forth. But no, but check your requirements, and based on what you read. And by the way, check the videos that I put on the platform, please. I'm not joking. This is really useful. Once you learn about that, because I will not teach how to make diagrams because the videos are there. Once you watch these videos, that again, it takes, one is 5 minutes long, one is 30, and one is 8. So that means that with less than half an hour, you will learn how to make these 3 diagrams. And Dean already told you, we are not gonna do a class diagram tomorrow or a state diagram or an activity project network diagram tomorrow. So she already gave you a nice tip that you only need to focus on the 3 in the middle. Just watch these 3 videos and you will learn a lot. And based on that, once you totally understand how each diagram works, you can go back to your requirements tables, plural, and you will say, oh, this one in particular works, can be drawn by using this and this and this. Or we have this information that we share with another module. We can work together in a sequence diagram, blah, 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 blah. So that's why that's why I cannot give you the answer. It's not because I don't want to give you the answers. No, it's because it's really specific to functional requirements. And remember, yellow module in this iteration wrote different functional requirements that the previous module. For example, let's say that you have the contract handler must do A as the first requirement, and they must do B as the second requirement. Maybe last year they said the first requirement is you do contract handler must do B, and the second requirement is contract handler must do A. So that's why I cannot say for yellow number for the yellow module functional requirement number 7 you need to do this diagram, because you have a totally different table than the people that from the last year. So that's why I cannot give you the answers specifically. But another question that arises is that I remember, I don't think that this is bad, so that's why I will say the name. Cosmins was asking, oh, then if we use the sequence diagram, we can help my group visualize information that is not that still 100% clear. And I told them is, to be honest, for the sequence diagram, you really need to know already your modules and other people's module literally by memory. So this one is the most complex one. So besides the class diagram, but again, we are skipping the class diagram entirely. So for this one, you really need to be 100% sure what you're doing, and you need to be 100% or at least 99% sure what the other modules are doing, so we can start integrating together. But the idea that you have was amazing. The intention that you have, if I am wrong, is okay, by using ULM diagrams, we can visualize information so everybody's on the same page. If that was just your intent, and I applaud that, then I will super mega hyper recommend create a use case diagram together. Even if you don't have 100% all your information, you can work in a sharing environment. And I think that Lucidchart allows you to work together. You can start drawing a use case diagram, and even if you don't have 100% your information in order, by iterating with your teammates, you can start solving the use case diagram, and that will help you visualize if you need to check that some requirement might need to be rewritten. Use the case diagram for that one. Don't enter the sequence diagram until everybody really understands everything, because that one is more complex. And now I will make a small pause to check the chat, because a couple of minutes ago there were only 1 question. Now I see 10 in a row, so I'm scared, and I will start reading them. So are we recording the lecture? Yes, we are doing it. I missed the previous optional lectures. Sorry, and if somebody actually remind me to record it, I will gladly have done that. Sorry for that one. From the amount of information, I think that class diagram could work for the admin module. Watch the video and then decide for that one. But the class diagram, I will tell you, the class diagram is the most detailed one. As you can see, you can still see the chart here. Less detail, more detail. This one is when you have the picture 100% clear, because this is more complex, more detailed. And this is when you are the class diagram is used. Let me see if I can zoom. Perfect. As you can see, I hope that in the programming module you saw that the plus sign. Well, probably not, but I will tell you anyways. The plus sign means that this is a. You can see the parentheses. This is a method. So we are speaking code here. We are entering super mega hyper specific code. So we're telling this is a method or a function. And the plus sign in a class diagram means that this is public. That and this box is a class. So this is a class. This is a class. This is a class. This is a node. This is a class. You can see class, the name of the class. You can see that there is two divisions here. These are properties or variables, and these are methods or functions. And you can see that they have the parentheses. In fact, inside this one, you can see that they even have the data type. So for example, this is a float. I don't remember, to be honest, sorry, I am a JavaScript developer, not a Java developer. So I don't know, I don't remember if Java has float. I think so. But I know that C++ has float for decimal handling. So I would say, no, don't do the class diagram for this project unless everybody in the rec team feels so confident 100% that you say, you know what, we can do the extra step. We don't just we are not happy with Dina Grades telling us you did a good job. You really want that Dina says this is the best red thing in 9 iterations. Then is that your goal? Okay, go for the goal and go for the class diagram. But that's hardcore. So I would say probably not. Next question. And again, if you just want to share information with your team so everybody's on the same page, okay, this one is so good to the point that, come on guys, these videos were available from the very first day of the software engineering module. If somebody just opened this one, that's why I put it first. If somebody just click on this one, you are gonna kill me where I'm about to say right now. But to be honest, I don't care. If people just saw this video, not these videos, only this video in the first 3 days, I swear that the case study will become at least 20% more easy, because this will allow you to share information with your team, to organize information. This is so good to the point that I don't know why we speak about diagrams on the second week instead of on the last day of the first week. But let's not open that Pandora box. Next comment. You can even watch the videos in 1.5 speed. Yes, and you can even skip when they're speaking about how to create an account, because you know how to do that. So the videos can become even shorter. Next comment is a happy face. Next comment is a laugh. Next comment, Eduardo just said class diagram will not be needed. Yeah, by the way, just I meant when I say that is for tomorrow's workshop, it's not needed. If you want to go to the extra mile and you want to make not just a good project, but you want to say, I want to make the best red, orange, yellow, green, or whatever color Power Rangers from your model, and you want to, the Dina is so impressed that she stands up, applause, and she says, this is the best red model in 9 iterations, go with the class diagram. But the class diagram is super hard. So only do it if you really feel comfortable. If tomorrow you do a really nice sequence diagram in the workshop, and the workshop you know that you have the time constraint at less than half an hour, even with just half an hour, you can make a killer sequence diagram, then I will say, you know what, Kimosabi, you're ready to become a Jedi, go and do the class diagram. But until not yet. That's super hardcore. For the workshop, no. I didn't know on day one day at a time. Yes, that's what I'm trying to imply. Thank you for being so eloquent, Diana. So we don't need the class diagram for tomorrow. Yes, we need the class diagram for the individual project. For the individual project, where the specification is crystal clear. You need to do a to-do list. There is no confusion about that. There is no ambiguity in David Yu document. Watch the class diagram video and it will make your project life easier. Yes. I don't want, by the way, I don't want to scare you to tell you that the class diagram is super hard, that only people with an IQ of 200 points can make class diagram. No, what I'm trying to say is the class diagrams are useful when everybody understands what the hell we need to do. David's Yu require a project description of the to-do list is crystal clear. I think that everybody understands what they need to do for IP. So if you watch the class diagram, you will connect David's Yu document with the class diagram video, and then it will make your project easier. So yeah, I think that I covered all the questions. Oh yes, I just literally said class diagrams for IP as well. Yes, you can use the class. You can use the class diagram for IP, and it will make your project easier. And you can also use the class diagram for the case study in software engineering, but only if you really want to be the best module in the entire. I can make a chart. You can use the class diagram. Okay, I will make a chart. Everything goes better with charts. Yeah, I'm not joking, by the way. Everything goes better with charts. So I will make a chart about this. Just give me 1 second. Oh, my internet speed is slow. Sorry. So this is a class diagram. And I will use the colors of the SDA. I know that software engineering is the orange module, software engineering. I think the individual project, just give me 1 second. The individual project is yellow. I really thought it was green, but okay, it's yellow. So I will say yellow. And this is individual project. And this is the class diagram. And we're gonna say no for the workshop, yes for case study, for case if you want to make the best project ever. And this one is yeah, to make your project easier to code. There you go. I am not joking. I really think that this explains quite well the thing. For software engineering, not for the workshop. Yes, if you want to make the best case ever. And for the individual project, yes, to make your project easier to code, because this will help you a lot. So I really strongly recommend watching this one. So yeah, let's go back to the slides. Let me see if there is new comments. Yeah, another tool. Oh yeah, that's called Whimsical, but this is not for making ULM diagrams. It is just to make quick charts. So it's not the same. So don't use Whimsical for tomorrow. For tomorrow, use either Drawing.io that Nicholas recommended, or use Lucid Chart. And now let's go for the advantage of this one is that it's for graphic design. So you can make it stuff super pretty, but it's not for making ULM diagrams. It's for flowcharts. Flowcharts are like the activity diagrams, or they have even less detail. So, okay, let's go back. Next slide. I told you the resources. I put it here, but in the platform, and they were in the platform for the very first day. This is the sample files that we're gonna do when we finish. So, okay, the next step in my project, it was to, okay, let's create one activity diagram from scratch, just so you can learn the tools. Because one complaint that we got today in the morning, in the afternoon, is that Lucid Chart doesn't have the tools necessary to do the projects. Unfortunately, Lucid Chart doesn't put them at the beginning, so I will teach you then how to do it. So, okay. To make these more advanced diagrams in Lucid Chart, you create a new project. It opens a new tab. And yes, as Nicholas said, you don't have information for making ULM diagrams and so on and so forth. So how do I add the tools? It's quite simple. If you click here and add shapes, you just go to UML and you can see this pop up, and you can add tools for the class diagram, for the use case diagram, for the activity diagram, and for the sequence diagram. Because we know that in the workshop, we are going to only use this use case, the activity diagram, and the sequence. We are only importing these three. Why does the chart do that instead of just giving all the tools at the same time? I think, my personal belief, I am not the product owner, nor I have a stake in this program. Don't think that because I want to recommend that I'm getting money. No, I think that the reason that they don't show us all the tools, all the shapes at the same time, is because this tool has so many tools, so many diagrams, that if they put everything at the same time, you will have like, I'm not joking, you probably will have like 500 shapes. So, and it will be a pain to navigate between 500 shapes. So that's why it allows you to import only the ones that you need. So, okay, we imported the flowchart, we imported the use case, we imported for the activity diagram. You can even drag and drop to put it in a new way. Let's make one. Okay, let's make one for the SDA. And I want to, just not gonna lie, I will gonna open this one in a new tab as a reference, because if I start thinking about this, it will take me double the time. But if I just copy it, we can go faster. But in any case, I want to no, this is the second one I wanted to do. Let me put it in here. We're gonna draw this one from scratch, so don't worry. I'm just putting it in another screen so I can use it as a reference. So, okay, we are gonna represent something in the SDA. We already mentioned this one, the login system. So let me log out and let me go to the SDA project SC. We want to represent in an activity diagram how to make the login system. As you assisted, if you assisted a couple of optional lectures, I don't mean every single one, but I always use this example. If you see the software, the SDA platform, you have two screens, one for the students and one for the admins. But if I log out, there is still some screens that I can access. So how do we can diagram these different states? We have 3 states. You can be either login, and once you're logging, you can be logging as a student or as an admin. And each one can have different access. For example, even if I log out, I can enter this screen, the login. I can create the create account screen. I can go back. I can go to the forgot password screen. And if I can add to a page that, for example, courses, but I log out, it will return me to this one because I coded like this. But if you find a page that doesn't exist, for example, let me see, /hello/123. Well, it redirects me, but if it doesn't find the page, it will show. It needs to show me an error page that the page is not found. So let's do that in the diagram, and let's showcase the first how to make the. Let me showcase the pages that we can see as a student. As a student, I have a totally different home screen than the admins, and I have a different access to this content. But as I have access to this profile page that is incomplete, and someday we'll have it, maybe by the time iteration. But we have a small lack of developers available right now, to be honest. Sorry about that. But if you enter as an admin, you see a totally different dashboard. You have different tools. You don't have study material, you have tools, different tools. This tool, for example, allows me to add content. And first, I can choose and add a button. Imagine there is an add module content here and a delete module here. Someday it will be available. If I click in software engineering, I can add content. I don't need to showcase an example because I remember in the first optional lecture, I already showcased an example of how this works. So I will not do it, but I can preview and then I can see the same screen that you see, guys. So you understand how this works. So it's easy to showcase this with the real code once it's done. But if the project doesn't exist and you need to showcase this to your fellow developers, then you need to make a diagram because I cannot make this tour before the page exists. It's a loophole. So let's create an activity diagram for this one. So let's do it. I will start by adding a text because I want to add the title. Yes, you need to be organized. So you need to add the activity diagram SDA login. We're gonna say that this one is an end mode. What I mean by the end mode, remember that you saw the shapes in Linux lecture. The activity diagram can end in a black dot, or it can end in a white dot that has an X on it. So we're gonna do both examples. So I will say the title, bold. Okay. So we can open the tab of the activity diagram, and we start with the start point. Perfect. And this will be entered. My first question for the let me close the SDA app and let me log in again. As soon as I enter the click, it doesn't show me the welcome screen. I can go directly to this screen. So my first question will be: is the user login? So I can use the decision that is in the flowchart. I can go here and I can write: is the user login, as a question, and I will paint it as yellow because I really like my diamonds as yellow. And then we have two options: is the user login, yes or no? If the answer is no, if the answer is yes, the first time that you drag an arrow, it will become automatically a yes. You can see as soon as you drag an arrow, it will become a yes. So I will say my yes on top. Oh, and they even showcase the elements. Perfect. And then if you go to a no, we do something else. In this case, yes, when you see that I'm looking at it here, it's because I'm looking at the answers. I will say preload unlock content. And I can add a comment for my fellow developers. I will add a sticky note. Now I like the notes here. These ones are white. I can say unlock pages. I will just, in this one, just for the sake of time, I will do copy paste. We can say the page availables for the unlocked content are the create an account, the login, the recovery password, and the error page. I'm sorry. Let me copy this one. And I will put here in the bottom, I will put notes right here. So yeah, we end one note here. We just do the note here. But in this one, we don't have a process because once we log in, we have another question. And the question is, can somebody guess it? Which one it is?
What type of privilege there is? It's either a student or either a teacher.
Privilege, fancy word. Privilege. No, I'm joking. Yeah, you're totally right. I just, to be honest, I just make it simple. I say what user role it is. Is it a student or an admin? But yes, it's a privilege. That's a correct term. But I believe it or not, I don't want to make stuff hard. I like to use easy language. So for me, is a user role. But you're 100% correct. Privilege. But I will say in simple language, is a student or admin. And I will tell you why. Simple. I will go back to this one and I'll read this one that says, the less detail, the better for non-technical users like a CEO or to communicate the overall idea to your teammates. And the activity diagram, as you can see, lands in the middle. So for example, if I want to make showcase this, for example, to my boss, to Cici, and I tell them, I need to make a new web page because the previous SDA platform is really bad. I will not be able to put, if I want to make the diagram for Cici, I cannot put what kind of privilege you have in the database because she doesn't know what a privilege means. Privilege for a normal human being, non-developer, privilege sounds like you're rich or entitled. But you are a developer and you know that the privilege is the user access. So depending on my audience, if I want to make this diagram for somebody that is non-technical, I will use English language, like is a student or admin. For CC, this is perfect. But for you, inside your groups, you can go with the more detail. So that's why this one lands in the middle, and you can make the same diagram with different language depending on the audience. So in this case, I will make it for easy to understand. I will go with this one. But remember, you're right, but for different reasons. And in this case, we're gonna, instead of a yes, we're gonna say, this is an admin. To make sense, I will put admin first, admin or student. So my first word goes to here, and my second one goes to the other case, and this one is a student. And for an admin, I will put a process, and the process is preload student content. I can copy from here. Preload student, admin content. And for the student, I preload the student process, admin student process. And I really hope that you can learn the trick of copy and pasting, because some TA told me, I don't remember the TA, I don't remember the students, that they were literally typing the case study, the workshop content instead of using copy paste. So when you are present with time, don't type, copy paste. Really, copy paste. Be lazy. You're a developer. Take shortcuts. In this case, take shortcuts. Not when you do a process, then you do a step by step. But this kind of stuff, use the copy paste. So okay, we have these processes. Okay, perfect. And you probably wonder, what are the pages, fellow developers? What are the pages that the student and the admin pages need? You can put that comment here in the bottom and put it here. Remember, I'm copy paste from the solutions, just to avoid making this workshop 3 hours long. But okay, we know that we need to join these ones. So we're gonna do the vertical join. This is the funny part. I remember that I think it was Cosmin that Dina made a question in the morning, and he was speaking about fork. And when Cosmin was saying that, I honestly didn't know what the hell you were talking about, man. Because I was taught to mention this as a join. But as you can see, unfortunately, project managers love to give them 3 names to every single concept. Don't ask me why. Don't ask me why. So fork and join is the same thing, by the way. So when I say join, it's a fork for you guys. Sorry, this is the word people learn with these different names. It's annoying, but it is what it is. So we join these ones, and then we have another join.
Yeah, it was me. Sorry that I interrupt.
I was
watching a tutorial from LinkedIn Learning, and they have like separate definition from fork and.
That's super. Okay, then what you're saying is valid. They're different. But yeah, that's what I meant, is that when they were here in fork in the morning, I was honestly didn't know. But in any case, we continue. We join these 2 ones because these 2 paths join, and then these ones join as well. And now it's time to render the web page. So render available pages. By the way, you can join the 3 without this intermediary one, but if you want to be organized, you can say that this 2 comes from the path of I'm logging. So this is the path of these 2 join when the path of I'm logging, and this one are either logging or unlogging, are joining together forces as to the next step. Let me just delete the Control C. Just 1 second. Let me align this one. Let me align this one with this one, this one. You don't need to do this, by the way. It's just, I'm crazy. You probably already know that. So I really need everything to be perfectly aligned. So, okay, you join them. Perfect, we're about to finish. And then we just add an ending node. But because we have a single path to end, we can go either this path or this path, and in this path we can divide with this path or this path. But at the end, we're gonna render web page anyways. we end with this node. So congratulations, you just learned how to make an activity diagram. Oh, sorry, I forgot to add this one. There we go. You just learned how to make an activity diagram in the end mode in Lucidchart. So remember, the key part is if you don't see the shapes you're looking for, or if you just click the X by mistake, don't worry, press on the Add Shape button, write UML, and activate a use case diagram, and don't forget also the basic flowchart. The basic flowchart is super important one. Sorry, another one, the flowchart shapes, this one. So there you go. Add shapes, bingo, you have it. I will share this diagram with you guys, so you don't need to make a screenshot. So let's make another diagram related to the SDA platform. In this one, we're gonna go a little bit more technical. So in fact, this is the first, instead of explaining doing a web page tour, we're gonna do the opposite. We're gonna showcase the solution of the diagram and then go backwards because this is more technical. And actually makes sense because this is how it is supposed to be done. You first make the diagram and then you code. So we're gonna do the correct step now. So we're gonna open this one, activity diagram, this one in mode, and we're gonna explain that. So we're not gonna draw it because you already learned how to draw the stuff. So, but we're gonna showcase this diagram and then we're gonna go into code, real code of the SDA platform. So let me put this one a little bit upstairs so we can zoom in. Perfect. So we're gonna do the flow diagram final mode. Remember, the final mode means that we need to complete both steps in order to consider the task complete. In the other one, you can either render the web pages as an unlocked user or render the pages as either a student or render the pages as an admin. But it doesn't happen the three things at the same time. It's just one of the three tasks. In this particular end mode, that's called, you can pass the mouse if you don't remember the node, it's called flow final. It means that we need to complete both steps, or both steps will run anyways. So you can see that we start, and we're going to use the example of the student pages. We are going to do the student pages, and now we divide it. First, we need to request by the way, when you log in, we don't know your name right now. Let me do the login from the beginning here. Log out. I will put eduardo@kthse, and the password is safe. I will not click because it will auto log in. But let's say that the password is 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not my password. But in any case, the system doesn't know my name. You will say, no, you can read the name for the email, Eduardo. What is the A for? Alvarado, Alvarez, Alban, whatever. So no, you don't know the data for this email. So we only, at this stage, we only know that you have an email and a password, and we only know that it's either correct. Right now it's probably gonna fail. Thank you, it fails. It means that the system is working correctly. That's why you create your test cases. So please don't say that the software engineering module is useless. Test cases are for something. And this time is supposed to work. Perfect. And now, magically, when I enter the profile, I can see that Eduardo Alvarez is an admin from the 9 iteration. So, but this information is impossible to gather by the login. So that means that I need to request my profile by ID to the database. So that's some information. And we cannot still showcase the web page. And in the other side, we need to call this is for the students. We need to call the courses table in the database. Then we get we can skip this one because this is an action. Let me go strictly by this one. Call this one will be, we can just simplify by get all, and I will make it a little bit longer. There you go. So we have, there you go. Now it's perfectly aligned. So we get all the courses, we get our courses from the courses table in database. And then we log the courses by table. If I can show you this in real code, you can check this one in real code. In fact, let's do it. Let's go to the SDA database. We're gonna go a little bit into code. No worries, don't be scared. You don't need to learn this about for passing the software engineering module, but I can trust that you can follow along. This is our backend, by the way, guys. It's called Firebase. We don't teach this particular technology in the SDA in the backend module. You will learn another tool called Spring. But because I really personally believe that this tool is super cool, you can and you can see the students. You don't see the password. This is for security reasons. I will explain that when we reach the software engineering module, and so on and so forth. And you can see the courses here, and you can see the backend module, the front-end module. So you can see that the content of the front-end module is already here in place, but you cannot access it because you know that it's locked. And the reason that it's locked is because we are a date unlock date. So it will become a late unlock on March 22. So you can go back to the diagram and say that the next step, once we get all the courses, is lock them by date. But we cannot still render the page until we request a profile by the user. Once both elements are done, we can actually showcase, we can finish this process of loading the student system or pages. And if we go back, if you want to go into detail, once we went in the database here, we can now showcase the same information in real code. We can go one step further, and we can showcase the real project of the real source code of the SDA platform. So I will go to dev SDA LMS. I will open it. Or I will start answering the chat quite soon. Just let me finish this one. Let me see. I will go to the. Honestly, I improvising right now, so I don't remember the code base. Let me just close all the tabs. But you will learn how to organize projects as well in front-end development. But anyways, let me see if I remember. Let me navigate my path. Is login or unlogged. This you can see that in okay. Oh yeah, I can showcase this one. Based on that, now that you're logged in, you can go to either login or unlock. This represent this previous diagram that we showcased here. This one is the user login or not. So you can see this diagram made into code. And don't worry, I know that you don't understand the syntax at all because it doesn't look like Java at all. You will learn this. This is called React, and you will learn this in the front-end module. But you can see that if the user is logging, we showcase certain pages. Otherwise, we showcase certain pages. And then we can go to the pages, and we can go to the, let me close this information. If we are logging, we can open this one. We can see that these are the pages for the student, the pages for the student, and these are the pages for the admin, the pages for the admin. Perfect. So now you can see how, now you can see that Dina is not crazy when it tells you make ULM diagrams. It's not for nothing. Making ULM diagrams makes easier to organize the information. And these diagrams are real for the SDA. We have documentation. I will show this one, the documentation of the SDA platform a little bit later. I want to first finish this. I want to finish this one. So, okay, let me showcase this one. Give me 1 second to remember where the hell is this. And switch admin. I think that is if I recall correctly, it's not user. No, where I was logging this information. Switch log, maybe in this one. Home admin. Okay, home admin. Maybe this one. No, I want to see the home student. Filter modules. Okay, I'm filtering the modules here, so I'm calling the information here. In my case, the login. In the login, I'm calling the profile. So by the way, we can actually refactor, and we can call here. We can call here. Let me see. Load courses content. here, and I can add a comment and say load user profile, and then we can write code here to load it. And once both are loaded, we render the page for the students. So yeah, this is how it's supposed to work. So you can do it like this. And you can just discover that we just discovered that we can do a refactor. Yay, this is why the diagrams are so important. So I will stop for 1 second, read the chat. So let me see, where was the last? If there is a free trial, no, Lucidchart is free. Don't. I know that in the morning it was a confusion that you cannot use certain tools in Lucidchart if you don't pay. No, you just need to import the shapes, as I thought. So you don't need to pay at all. And then Enchilu made a comment: is join used when you split your
Sorry, it was a typo. I did it again, the second comment after it.
Okay, so you answered yourself. Okay, so okay, then we can skip. And then everybody's commenting about that one. And then Fiona is, if you want to use more than a certain number of objects, I will stop you. I don't understand that one. Can you go into detail? It's probably a joke, but in case this is something important, go ahead.
No, it's not a joke. I'm just referring to the Lucidchart. You can't, on the free version, you can't make more than 3 sheets. And once you start to add too many objects, it'll stop and say, you're trying to access a premium feature. You can't add any more objects. But I discovered that you can get a 7-day free trial. So I think we're going to do that.
Perfect. Thank you so much. That information is crucial for you guys. So that's why the optional are not mandatory, but are highly recommended.
Oh, Edward, on the SDA platform, the optional lecture is not open yet. It's still locked.
Which one? Let me go to the
Yeah, the optional lecture 3. I mean, the slides for it.
Yeah, the slides. Okay, I can look at them right now. Just give me 1 second. The reason that it's not the reason that it's not locked yet is because I haven't finished the slide. I didn't have time to export the file, the diagrams to make this button. So I will that will take me 5 minutes. Once I done it, I will upload this one to the web and then make the correct link. So yeah, I will unlock them later. It will be by today, but I haven't finished. That's why. I just need to add this link, add the link for the last slide. So that's why. Okay, now we finished the explaining this one. We are super out of time. I wanted to make the sequence diagram, but to be honest, watch the videos that are there. The only thing that you can learn from me with the diagram, I already explained it, that the best case for the sequence diagram is when you have inter-module communication. For example, the ATM is one module, because even if the ATM is a machine, there is a system software behind the scenes, and that's the software that represents the software. And then the bank server is another module, and so on and so forth. So, and I wanted to showcase something else, but to be honest, I literally forgot about that. So I don't remember what was about that, but okay, in any case, if I remember, I will mention it. But okay, we can move to a question round now, right now. Yeah, let's move to a question round. And Abbas, you go first.
Yeah, can you just show us how to do a dashed arrow? Because I didn't find it on Lucid.
Okay, good question. Now that's valid, and I will share the screen once again. And you can lower the hand because we know that we're answering your question. So tap. Let me go back to Lucidchart. Perfect. Okay, we're gonna create a new. If you want to go to the main menu, you click on this one. Oh, I remember what I wanted to show you after that, but I will just open it, but I will not go off topic. I just want to open the thing that I wanted to show you, so we can later go to the condition SDA platform. I recently uploaded that. So I will answer your question. Don't worry, I haven't forget, but I want to open this so we remember what it was the thing that I wanted to show you. Case is the kickoff platform tool. Yeah, this one. Okay, now let's make answer your question. We create a new document. Use a new document. Let's make some arrows. Perfect. I know it's taking a little bit of time. So, Okay, remember, let's import only the the sequence data. URL, you open URL and you want the sequence. By the way, the arrow serves also for the use case and so on and so forth. So in any case, okay, we put this actor. We want to pass information between these two. And you want to make an arrow. And the question is how to make this arrow once for a message. Like we want to return a message here. How do we make this one as a message? We need the arrow. Simple. We could click here and just click here, and there you go. Here you can see the shapes of the I usually use the third one, and there you go. Now your arrow means a response. This is an action like a send login info. Say if it's correct. So I'm trying to diagram, for example, this response in the SDA platform. Let's say Eduardo, and I skip the A on purpose, and I put my correct password. Let's hope that it works. And you get a response. I send my credentials, says credentials. Let's use technical words. Credentials. That's the correct keyword. Credentials. And then respond with a message. In this case, the message is there is no user record corresponding to this identifier. The user might have been deleted because we know that my correct email is this one, with an A. Now I can log in. So did that answer the question? Yes?
Yes, thank you.
Perfect. Another question before I show the thingy of super mega hyper optional that I wanted to showcase. Yes, no? No more questions. Then I will move to the small tips for the presentations in the Friday. As I mentioned, and this to make it more sense, just give me 1 second. Just give me 1 second. Remember a couple of minutes ago that we say that we can rewrite, let it load. Now we can write the super technical. What privilege is. We can write the super technical. Oh, by the way, now that I discovered a small one, if you want to make a space in Lucidchart, you use Shift Enter. Remember, Shift Enter, and in some keyboards, it's not called Enter, it's called Return, or you have this weird arrow. So in Apple numbers, you use Alt Enter, but in Lucidchart, it's Shift Enter, just in case you want to know that. In any case, now this is the thing that I wanted to showcase. This is a small tip for how to make your presentation for Friday. You don't need to do it perfectly as I showcase. So I will not press play because otherwise it will take a lot of time. But you can explain, you can make a nice cover, and you can explain what is the vision of your module. Explain the key 3 aspects of what is your module about. You can explain that, and then you can go to, well, you don't have a tech stack because you are not coding, but this is the presentation of the SDA platform, and we explain that the front end is made in React and the back end is in Firebase. And then how you organize the project. You can mention that how you work it. You can say we working in Slack, Trello, Lucidchart, Draw.io, Google Spreadsheets, Apple numbers, whatever. You can make a high-level diagram of how your system works. I showcase an example of that one when I went in Wins. That can be your module and your business requirements and then you can list the most important requirements here as an example. I don't say that you need to do it like that, but that's a nice way. You can just keep examples. But the point that I want to reach to the last point is the documentation. So for example, this one is a super simplified version of the login. This diagram is the same diagram as this one, but you can see that this diagram is more complex. So again, if we go back to this slide, You can make the diagrams complex or more complex or less complex depending on the people. There is no way that you can make a class diagram easy to understand, and there is no way that you can make a sequence diagram that it can be understood by nobody besides developers and project managers. A CEO will not understand this one. This one is super complex. But this one is a nice middle. These two, and the other opposite of these two diagrams is true with this one. There is no way that you can make this one so complex that you can start understand code by this one. This is so basic that you cannot make code for this one. But these two, you can make them easy or complex as you want. And in your presentation, a nice trick will be maybe this one will, when you have so little time. Dina will probably tell you tomorrow how much time you will have for presentation. But let's say that she says 5 minutes. In 5 minutes, you will not be able to explain this diagram plus everything in your case study. So you probably need to make a simplified version of your diagram, like this one. Is the user login? Just no, and that's it. And you skip the joins because then it's super complex. And then you can say, and if you want to see this diagram in more detail, you can enter my Google Drive folder and see the diagram in full detail. You can do that, by the way. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, and this information that you should haven't read, but okay, now that you saw it, this diagram documents on the macro level how the login system works. That's true. It follows the methodology installed in software engineering module. So you can see that this module is not useless. To make easy for the TAs and even to the students learn how the platform works. The reason I wrote this paragraph is because I want to showcase this PowerPoint slide in full details when we reach the front-end module. And why I want to showcase this one? Because in the first day of the front-end module, we're going to learn JavaScript, then web pages, and so on and so forth. The next week, we're going to learn React. But in the very last days, we're going to learn how to make a complex project in the front end. So you will learn how to combine software engineering, diagrams, a lot of diagrams. You will learn how to where all that Dina teaches you will click with the front end module. And you will see why you need to do this. And remember, if you code in the front end without doing this, will happen what will happen with the previous platform. This is not the SDA platform. This is the SDA platform 2, because we have a previous platform. And the answer was because we lack project management. We skip this. That you right now, I know that you're super tired with the case study, you hate it, blah blah blah, it's super ambiguous, etc., etc., etc. Yeah, but even though I really hope that we stick that you really need to do this kind of documentation and test cases, and we did the test cases for the login, so we don't have weird bugs and so on and so forth. So I really hope that this will connect once we learn from end, and we'll teach you how to make a more complex project. So this is the thing that I wanted to show you. We're gonna not go into detail because this is reserved for the end, for the front end module. So you will learn a lot of information there. So yeah, to be honest, and that's why I invented the optional lecture, because there was so much content in the mornings that we need to upload some content to the afternoons. But okay, more questions? Otherwise, we are past by 15 minutes. So any questions? Otherwise, I will wrap it up right now. Remember, you need, there is a comment, I will read it, and it's not, I know it's from Cosmic, I will finish this one. For tomorrow's workshop, I know that I know I didn't go into detail, okay, to do this diagram, you need to do this step, this step, this step. The reason is because if you enter the software engineering, I know that I can enter as an admin, but you know that you can enter from here. You know that you have these 3 diagrams. Please watch these ones tonight. And once you watch this one, and this is one for the Cosmin, if you want to polish your ideas with your group, you can use this one. Don't use this one. This one, you really need to be, everything needs to be in order before you reach this one. And you use this one to polish ideas. What?
Sorry, you are not sharing the screen. You are.
Okay, my bad.
Yeah,
Don't
it
worry.
was this one, this one. Aha, that's what you mean.
Yeah.
These videos.
Use
Please
sketch
watch this
diagram is best for at this moment, I think.
Yeah, watch these three, please. So yeah, that's it. And now I will read your comment. So the backend class diagrams works best for front-end activity diagrams. Okay, can you explain this one, please?
So I'm a newbie regarding programming, and I
No
understand.
worries.
I
There
have
are no stupid questions at all. Don't worry.
for our individual project class diagram, will help us a lot, because there will be like also the methods and everything. And I was thinking that for front end, it's more like graphical stuff. And this question is also because I think I like more activity diagrams. So I am trying to make
It's valid.
understanding about what will happen.
Yeah, but if I understand your question, you're trying to imply, I don't say that it's correct or wrong, but you're trying to try to give them a label like this is for the front end, and this is for the back end. No, to be honest, both are valid. You can use for both front and back end, because these activity diagrams and activity diagrams just is a sequence of steps that the user needs to perform. And if when we say a user, sorry, when we say an actor, let's use these terms that Dina teaches. An actor can be an object or a human being. So if an actor is the actor is a human being, yes, we probably mean the front end. But if this is a communication between intersystems, then it's the back end. But both diagrams work for both cases. So remember, that's what I say. This one is for developers, but I never said front-end developers or back-end developers. These diagrams are useful for both the front-end and the back-end. Because if you have one kind of diagram for the front-end and one kind of diagram for the back-end, then pity the people that works as a full-stack developer. The full-stack developer is the jack of all trades that knows both front-end and back-end. Then we'll need a different kind of diagram for full-stack developers. So don't worry. That's why this is called unified or universal modeling language. This can be applied for front end, back end. And remember that front end and back end are terms invented in the last 10 years. And this stuff was invented like 50 years ago. So this can work also for Java developers. This can work also for assembly developers, for C++ developers. So don't worry. Each diagram, these ones, not this one, not this one. These diagrams work both for the front end and the back end. But again, depends on what kind of information you want to imply in the screen. So don't worry. And it's a valid question, by the way, 100% valid. So any other questions?
Eduardo?
No, there is no questions. That was quite valid. And this comes from a person, by the way. This comes from a question that for a person that made a project, a $10,000 project, without using classes. Everything was in a procedural language. So yeah, don't worry. You learn by making mistakes, man. You learn by making mistakes. There is no other way to learn is by making mistakes. So, and by the way, another stupid thing that I said once, I really like I dreamed to make video games one day, and I actually did, and sold video games in Ecuador for a lot of fucking money. Yeah, I'm sorry for saying bad words, but what I'm trying to say is that before I make video games for money, once I said I want to learn how to code in DirectX. DirectX is not a coding language. DirectX is a mirror tool to connect your code with the graphic card. So you don't need to learn how to use assembly. It's an API interface. So you don't need to code in DirectX. There is no DirectX language. You can code in Java, you can code in C++, in C# or whatever, and you just call the DirectX APIs to call the graphic card to draw your three-dimensional characters on the screen for a video game. So I once said, I want to learn to code in DirectX. So yeah, you learn by making mistakes. So that's the only way to learn. So, okay, actually somebody wants to make a question, so please go ahead. I went super off a tangent.
Do we have in Lucid Chat? Do we have a different kind of arrow marks? Like for example, to create a class diagram, we will use a different kind of relations like aggregation, composition.
Beautiful question. I will share the screen to answer that one. Yeah. I will make a super quick example Lucid chart. So okay, let me create a new one. Blank document. Let's give it 1 second to load. By the way, Nicolas' tool called Dragon.io is super good. The reason that I recommend Lucid instead of Dragon.io is because super topic. I believe in karma, and if somebody helps you, I really believe that you need to help them back. And the reason that I use Lucid chart is because all optional tutorials come from Lucid chart.
Hi, my name is Chloe, and I'll be teaching you
from Lucid chart. So I will really feel super bad to use the tutorials for Lucid chart and then tell you use Dragon.io. I will feel super shitty because I'm using the resources. The least I can do is teaching them how to use Lucid chart instead of another tool. But you can use Dragon.io without any issues at all. But let's go back on topic. And we load an empty project. We import a shape. We're gonna use a class diagram, URL, class diagram. Perfect. We use this shape. We're gonna create the class, for example, the class course. And this one is for the SDA. Everything is private because we have good coding practices. And this is the get courses. And then we have a function, a private function that is validate course. And we pass a parameter. You probably, can somebody guess what is the parameter to validate a course? If this validate unlock course, to make it easy. Can you guess what is the parameter that I need to pass?
String.
And what is the name of this part? Okay, it's a string. What is the name of this string?
Course name.
Date.
ID.
Date. We unlock our courses by its date. So I can call this function. I will write in a test. So I can say, for example, course dot unlock course, and it will showcase the open or close based on the date. So it will unlock it for you. But in any case, the question that was about the connections. So how do we make the nodes? So for example, I will connect it here so you can see it clearly. You can make the shape, the shape of the line here, and the weight of the diamond here, endpoint. So you have these ones, this one. I don't remember right now the names of the ends, but you watch the class diagram. Let me open the class diagram. It's from.
Hi, my name is Zach, and I'm with
from Lucid Chart.
Lucid Chart. Today I'll be teaching you about UML.
You will learn the names and the determinations of when to use it. To be honest, I don't remember right now. So, yeah, you can watch the video for the IP module as well.
Thank you, Aduna.
Perfect. Any more questions? There is no stupid questions. No, not at all. This is a safe environment. Blah 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 blah, and all this hippie stuff. Yeah.
It's not a question, but just earlier you mentioned the fork and the join. And I think the reason it has different names is fork is when you have one incoming edge and it comes out. So it's always used like when it's branching out, and join is always used when it's
perfect. Thank you. Thanks.
So it's different meanings.
Different meanings. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, that actually makes sense. Yeah. Because if I go back to Lucid Chart, one of the diagrams, let me say the URL, blah, 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 we can see that the state, these two are two different diagrams. The state is a more complex version of the activity diagram. And we actually have in the platform two videos, one for the state and one for the activity. And they come from the same YouTuber. So they are not the same. So yeah, that was a confusion that I say. Sorry for that one. Thank you. Yeah. So if there is no more questions, we can wrap it up. But I will stay here answering as many questions until I get bored or until 7. So any more questions? No? Then we're gonna stop this one, and I will add the diagrams that we just draw today in the slides, and then I will unlock the content. So thank you, and see you tomorrow. Don't forget to watch the 3 videos. Really.
Thank you.
And practice. Don't just watch. This is not, you cannot, yeah. If you watch the videos and then go tomorrow to the workshop, you will totally forget what to do under the pressure. You need to practice. So instead of the workshop being your first time that you make a diagram, it will be your second or third time, and you will work way faster. So yeah, that will be it. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you, Eduardo.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.